There. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to send an image through a fetch request to Google's app script, and from app script allow you to upload it to your Google Drive. Okay, so let's get started. So if you click on app script, it brings you here to your project, and you want to click on new project, and you can name it whatever you want. I already have it here saved. This is it right here. And you can change the name by clicking on that, and you rename it to whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. And the first thing we should do is, before that, you should know that AppScript is located at this website here at scripts.google.com. This home, you don't need that home there. And this will take you to this page. And from this page, then you can start your, you can actually make this script right here. Okay, so what we're going to need, because we're sending a fetch request to this page, so we're going to need a function, and this is a reserved name. It's doPost. Oops, doPost, and it is gonna have an event, and in that event, we're gonna do something. Okay, so in this video, we are going to collect an object. It's going to be stringified. Object's going to be stringified, and you can collect it here with this e.postData.Contents. We're going to grab that, and then we're going to unstringify by using JSON.parse. So the data we're going to be sending is going to have three parameters, and yeah, so three parameters such as this. So we're going to have MimeType, the base64 data, and file name. So the data that we're going to receive here, it's going to look something like this. It's going to be like this JSON data is going to actually look like this. And we're just extracting that data, the MimeType over here, we're extracting that data right here from this JSON data. We're just extracting all that. Okay, now what we got to do next. So this is we're getting to a base64 data, but we don't want it to be a base64 data. We actually want to turn it back into its binary type. And to turn it back to its binary type, we're going to be using these two pieces of code. And we're using the utilities base64 decode, and it will turn it back into bytes, into its binary data. And this blob here, Utilities.newBlob, it's you put your decoded here, your MIME type, and your file name, which is all this here. And because you can only save images as blob. Now, what we'll also be needing is, well, we need the ID of our Google Drive. So if you look at my Google Drive here, you can't see it, but if you look at, let me just make this small. If you look at the top of my URL, this address here, this part here, the last part, that part there, that is the ID of this folder in my drive, the drive images. I made a folder here called images, and this is the folder location. Okay, so over here, this is the folder location. You paste that in there. It's already pasted. Then over here, you type in DriveApp.getFolderById, and essentially you will get the folder. Now the folder is open. Now this part here you don't really need to do, but you can if you want. You can set your the folder settings. You can do this at the folder, or you can do it here. It's app drive access to everyone and app drive permissions edit. That means this folder can be edited by anyone. You may want to change this to view, or edit. It's fine. So essentially we want to paste things in there, but you don't really need this. You don't really need this here. And of course, finally, we're going to go down here and we are going to make a file, folder create file blob. So we're going to put our blob. This is our blob here. This is where all our information is, our decoded, our bytes and everything. We're going to put here create folder. So it's actually going to do everything here. But you may want to get a URL to that folder. So we are going to get the URL using the file.getDownloaded URL, or you can do get URL or get download URL, either or. But if you want to, well, what you're more interested in is the ID of that URL, and that will allow you to access the thumbnails. or the picture itself. And of course, we probably should return something, and we are going to return the file URL because we want to know if it, first of all, we want to know if it uploaded correctly, and we want to know what that link is so we can actually refer to it later if need be. Now, if you want access to that picture, you'll be using this over here, Google Drive, that thumbnail, and over here ID, and this is where you put the ID. So when you get your file URL, the part, the ID part goes in here, and this will allow you to view the picture from the select from any browser, or if you need to stick it embedded into an image file. I'll show you in a second. And as always, we're gonna hit deploy. We're gonna hit deploy here, and as we always do new deployment. Every time I do manage deployment, it always screws up. So I always do new deployments, and I typically just leave everything blank. Who has access? Everyone. And this is the selector type. It's a web app, so you want to select here and click on web app, and you're gonna go deploy. And when you deploy, you're gonna get yourself a URL at the bottom, the web app URL. You want to copy this and keep it somewhere safe. Now, the first time you run this, you may get an email from Google that you have to accept permissions and everything. So go through all the permissions and allow it to accept all the permissions. I'm not going to show it here, but yeah, it's going to say unsafe or unsafe. But what you want to do is accept all the permissions and take the risk. So over here, I'm just going to replace this. It's good to have that web app URL handy, so I'm going to keep it here. And now let's work on the JavaScript side. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go here and I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to inspect, and I am going to click on console. Let's clear this. And I should have my code should still be saved. I'm going to write my code down over here. So the first thing we do, we are going to create an element. So we're going to create an element. Let me just make this a little bit larger so you guys can see. So we're going to create an element called input, right? And we're going to set the attribute to file type. And then from this, we're going to add an event listener called change. And let me just close this up, bracket. And here is just a function, just a callback function. And what you want to do is just open that up and you'll stick some more code inside of here. So inside of here, we just go down one. We're gonna have name a new variable called file. This is the event of this. You can actually put this over here if you want, but I'd rather use the E. So E event current target files, and don't forget the S. You don't want to get screwed up, so we're gonna get the S there and 0. So it's just gonna take the if you don't put this here, it's gonna give you back an array. So you want to put 0, so you're only choosing one file. If you're choosing multiple files, then you're gonna have to use a loop to go through those multiple files. And then you can open up a new file reader. And from this reader, let us do another event. This is a reader.addListener event, and you're waiting for everything to load. And inside here, let me just put this in that. Inside here, we're gonna put our code here inside. Actually, you know what? Before that, I'm just gonna end this, and I'm gonna go down here, and I'm gonna paste this L input quick. So this is the input. So basically, it's basically here. If you run this here, it's automatically gonna click this input. So this is right, it's an input, and it's gonna open up a file type, and it's gonna ask you what you want to download. And then once you download something, it's gonna trigger this change, and it's gonna run all this here. And when it finishes loading, when all the data is loaded, then you want to collect your data. But you're wondering where you're collecting the data from. Well, down over here, and I forgot to put this in, we're gonna do this. So reader.readFile as data URL. I mean, you read file as a data URL. Basically, in a sense, you are getting the base64 code, all base64 code. And this file here corresponds to this file right here. So you're feeding this file into here, and then basically once that's fed in, then everything inside here will run. So inside of here, and maybe you should put another space there, we want to collect our results. So the current target result, that will give you the base64 data. But you have to separate your base64 data from its meme types because your base64 is a big mess of something, so you want to split it up. And we are going to use, oops, Let me just clear this and reload it here. We are going to let, well, let me just get the, so better yet, let us do this. Here, split result. So you want to split the result at the comma. So there's a whole bunch of data, but the comma, everything after the comma is the base64 data, and everything before it is the meme type. So, so you can do this. You can go down over here. Since it's already split, you can get your base64 data, and basically you have a because it's only two places it splits over here. You can either have 0 or 1. So basically everything that's up to the right of the comma I want as the base64 data, and everything to the left I want as the meme type. So let me just put that there. So for the meme type, we're going to make a variable here, split result, and this is basically going to give me a string. But I actually want to clean this up a bit. So I'm going to go over here, put dot replace, because there's some stuff I want to replace there. For instance, I want to replace, let me take a look here. I want to replace here data. So anything that says data dot, I want to replace it with nothing. So this is a nothing string. I'm also going to do another replace. And from here, I'm going to replace anything that says base64 and replace that with nothing. Here, this is a nothing string, that's a nothing over here. So I'm gonna replace that. Okay, good. Okay, so all we have to do now is collect the data. So I'm collecting all the data. I'm giving it here. The key is base64 and the base64 value string here. Meme type key and then meme type here. And again, this is all here, meme type, and then file name, and then you can make any file name you want. It's probably best to use a date though, but I'll do that. I'll do that later. Oh, let me just correct that. And then you probably want to stringify your data. Let me just get more space here. So you want to string. So this is the data. Now I want to string the data. So you stringify. And the reason you stringify it is so it's easier for it to send over. If you don't stringify it, it's very difficult. So you want to turn this entire thing into a string. So you stringify it. And then the other side, if you look at the here on the here, it gets parsed. Oops, that's okay. No, that's not it. Oops, let's clear that. Over here, it gets parsed right over here. Let me just clean this up. So over here, this JSON.parse unstringifies the data. So you stringify it there, you stringify it over here, so it becomes a string, and then here it gets unstringified. Okay, so that's that. Over down over here, that's the same thing. Let's erase that because we don't need that. And let's see if this works. Okay, there. So this is our URL. Again, uh, this URL comes from down over here. We collected the script URL. I collected it over here, so let me just make sure it's the correct one. So here, let's close this and let's paste that here. Awesome. Okay. Now all we need now is to send our fetch request. And let us stick our fetch request here. And let's just close this up. Here. So this is our URL from up here, right? Our method will be post. The body, it's a string data because we stringified all the data, the object. We stringified the data from here, and we are going to send it. We'll send our data. Let's give it a shot. So just looking at my Google Drive, there's no images in here thus far, and let me just go here and let's send this code. Oh, there's an argument. It's missing a comma somewhere. Okay, right down here, this is a mistake right here. That actually should be a smooth bracket. And now it should work. So now I clicked on it. It's opening it up. I'm just going to use a picture, this picture here, and hit open. Could wait a couple seconds, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so it returned this to me, the address. What's really important is this part, the ID part. From here to here. That's the important as if you want to see the picture. So for the first part, let's just copy this down so we know where it is. Just go Control C, and I am going to copy that and just put it here in the bottom. Let's just do that. Just a comment here. And if you look at my drive, the image is right here. And I can click on it, and this is the image right here. Let's close this, and let's go back here. And we don't need this, we can just close that. And over here, do you remember earlier what I said is that if you have this, this address here, thumbnail, and then you put all this in the address here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this ID all the way down over here, and then Control C, copy that, and I'm gonna stick it right here in this ID, and then Control V, stick that there, and then I'm gonna copy this and just put this in an address bar and see what happens. So I open up a new tab. Here's a new tab. I'm just gonna make this smaller so you can see the address bar. So in the address bar, I'm gonna paste that there, and when I hit enter, there's our picture. Great. So again, all the code will be in the description of this link. And yeah, if you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. And that's about it. Oh wait, just a minute. Let's just change this up here because I think if I do view, it would things will be a little bit more tricky, different. And let me just send that request again and see what happens. Okay, that's the code console. Okay, let me just retrieve the previous code. And I'm going to change the name. Let's call it image 2 up here. And let's send that. Again, it's going to ask me for that. I'm going to take this picture instead and give it a couple seconds, and it should go. There we go. We have this address here. Let's take a look at the image. This is the second image. That's the second image. And if you look at the folder, I believe that if you look at the permissions here, okay, well, let me take a look. Well, if you go here and you go to the image, I think this is the one I did, and you click on here and go to share, it says here that anyone in the internet can find and edit. Oh, you know what? It didn't work because I changed the view because I didn't redeploy it. So you have to do a new deployment in order to change this. So yeah, edit. So this would have changed the viewer. Yeah, they would have changed the viewer if that was done properly. Okay, anyways, either way, it works, and that's about it.